the W, the podcast that we're doing that chronicles Widener football history, its rich football tradition, and just capturing stories for everyone to enjoy and for posterity here. A little bit about Widener football. Widener football started in 1879. We are one of 53 college programs in all levels of college that have over 700 wins. We have 732 and counting as of today. Widener is sitting at number 42 all time on that list, and we are fourth all time in Division III behind Mount Union, Wittenberg, and one of our old nemesis opponents, W&J. Wabash College, who I believe we played in the playoffs several times and maybe even in the championship in one of the games, is right behind us at 725. Widener has an all-time winning percentage of 614, which is pretty dang good. As, of course, we all know, we have two national championships, the 1977 and 1981 teams. And since 1975, we have over 20 MAC championships, two of which me and one of my co-hosts, Boone Takei, have been a part of in the 1994-95 seasons. So again, everybody, welcome back to History of the W. This is our fourth show. It's been a while since we've done a show, so we're cranking it back up, me and Boonta here. And, what do you think, Boonta? You ready to go again?
I am, Pete. It's been a while, like you said. I'm glad we are able to do this again because, this is a fun podcast, but also we don't make any money out of it. That's the best part about it. So, it's not rich, but at the same time, our tradition is rich. The football program is rich. That's the most important thing, right? And we want to continue that. So, yeah, I'm ready.
Good deal. And as of today, with our fourth episode now, we're bringing on another co-host, a great friend of ours, a longtime brother of ours, and just a hell of a guy. We're going to call him what we always call him. We're going to call him the Mad Dog, right? Welcome aboard, dog. How you doing today,
Thanks,
pal?
Pete. Thank you, brother. Yeah, doing well. Thanks, Boonta. Thanks for having me, guys. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, good to have you on, man. So we're just going to go with it today. We're going to chop it up a little bit. We're going to bring everybody up to speed about Mad Dog, his story, and just bring everyone up to date here. So, Doug, tell us a little bit about your Widener history, how you came about to come to Widener, how you got involved with the football team, and your overall experience with the program.
Yeah, Pete, thanks, brother. So I came on in 1994. It was great to get part of the team. The way it started is, if you guys remember Jim Cassidy, Cass and I went to high school together, graduated together, and in high school we were able to play the state championship our junior year and our semifinals our senior year. But what's crazy is I never thought I was going to play college football. I was a big baseball player, so. When I was done my senior year playing football, I thought that's the last time I was ever going to put a football helmet on, right? So when we graduated, Cass went to Widener. I went down to North Carolina Wesleyan to play baseball. And, North Carolina being down south for the first time, was eye-opening to me, right? Being away from home, only one stoplight in the town. I'm like, this isn't really the experience I was looking for. So got a hold of Cassidy. He got me in touch with Coach Cubitt, at the time. And, I worked real hard. I went down there for a semester. I came back my spring semester, went to community college to get my grades up. And then I applied to Widener and got the news that I was accepted. And off to football I went. And what an experience, man. I mean, I'll tell you, it was coming in and what you guys went through the year before and what you guys built as freshmen and then coming in and then I was able to hop on board. It was great. The one thing I always remember, Pete and Boonta, was how welcoming everyone was. And, it was a trial and error, right? I mean, the first time I got put on my back was from this guy that I'm sitting with at Garcia. And then as I'm looking up at the sky in Chester, PA, that nice, fog and smog we had, I was questioning myself, saying, what the hell am I doing to myself? Maybe baseball is what I should have done, right? But after we cleaned up, it was awesome, So And then, in camp, right, when I got nicknamed Mad Dog, it was from Clarence Walker. He was from Florida because I was playing linebacker, and then I moved down to D line. And then the team just caught on, right, with the nickname. I'm like, this is cool. I mean, really feeling accepted. And I didn't think it was going to take off the way it did. And then while we were at camp, then the other teams that were there, field hockey team, volleyball, soccer, the whole nine, it picked up. And then, the history of it is what it is, that's how I'm known at Widener, right? So, had great moments, and then pledging the house and becoming a brother, with you guys, with Alpha Sig, really topped it off. But great experience, I don't say it a lot. And Booth, I shared this with Pete, right? When I go back and look at my, playing career, I wish I had the times you guys did on Saturday. You know what I mean? I was out there with you guys. I know I did my job during the week, and to help prepare you guys, or at least to help prepare Pete and the O-line. But nothing gave me great joy to watch you guys out there on Saturday, and doing your thing, doing our thing, representing all of us. But really, it was great. And so when I left Widener, I graduated in '97 with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice sociology. I got into law enforcement. Things didn't go as well there as I wanted through some injury. So I went back to Widener and got my master's degree. And then when I went back to Widener, I ended up coaching there for 5 years with Dave Wood and his staff, Clements, and got my degree in education, and then got my first teaching job in Jersey. And I coached high school ball for 10 and a half years as assistant head coach of our high school football team, with a guy that I coached with at Widener that was an All-American at Rutgers. And he went back to his alma mater in high school, and then he brought me with him to really, we had great, obviously time and great teams up there in the high school level for the 10 years, which was great. And, and then my wife brought me down to Texas, and I've been down here ever since. So, but no, the time I had at Widener, the relationships, I mean, each of us, dabbed into something together. And I was telling Pete, I said, the way the team worked and how much love there was with the team, the majority of us were brothers in the fraternity, a lot of us. And I think just that uniteness was always there, of the locker room, how great it was, how much we supported each other off and on the field. And that's why I think we're as successful as we were in '94, '95. So that's a little bit about my history. I was never recruited by Widener, never recruited for football, but I found my way in there one way or the other. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, that's an awesome story, because I felt like I'm the same way on the recruiting side of things. I think I found my way to Widener versus Widener finding me. And I think I told Pete and many guys that story. Like, if you think about it, Vince Toohey was the one that he's trying to get credit for recruiting me, because I went down there on my own time, and he was the first person to greet me. But at the time, remember Coach O'Neill? That he was from
Gary, you probably know, but I do. I remember Coach O'Neill.
Yeah. So he was part of the previous coaching staff, right? And he kind of remained, with us through the transition, and then he retired after our first year, or actually he retired, I think maybe like after that summer, but if anybody got credit or would get credit, it was him basically. But besides that, I mean, it's all history. I mean, that's the best part about it, like understanding how all of us got there, and it's the stories. I mean, this is what it is, because everybody has their own path to get to Widener. But I think what's great about it is, like, you hit it all cylinders there, right? I mean, I think it's like one big family. We all had fun. Whether it's during practice, whether it's summer camp, whether it's during school, we all kept it together. And then this is where I want to talk about in today's podcast too, is like, the challenges of these kids, having, looking back what we experienced, right, versus their experience today, totally different. The commitment, the money, everything, right? I mean, we didn't have that, right? We didn't play for money. We had to pay to play.
Yeah.
And these guys are getting paid to play. I mean, like, we're on two different levels, you know?
Yeah. No
Yep.
kidding.
So,
No kidding. I would have settled for some beer, like, or whatever. Like,
yeah.
it's
Yeah. It's
it's
so
crazy.
funny because, like, now we're like, say, like, we're starters, we earn some recognition, like, hey, Cuban, I want I want at least like $50, man, this year, can you hook me up, or something,
Yeah.
like some NIL money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Need
a real
some for
thing.
Walios,
Yeah, it's a real thing
Yeah.
too. I've talked to the coach a few times, and the NIL situation is very advantageous in Pennsylvania for the program. And I know they're working at it, and I know they have somebody on campus that really knows the system. So that, it's just a matter of being able to fund it. Because
Yeah.
coach has told me they've lost players to, like, say, Westchester, which is, the local Division II school.
Yeah.
And the person would be a 4-year starter or three-year starter at Widener, and they're going to sit the bench at Westchester over $2,500. Like, that's the margin where things go sometimes, because they just want to feel like they got something. And so we're from the brotherhood perspective, and we try to help do that. I mean, there's a fair amount of money in the fund to be able to do some things, not tons of money. No one's going to get a Lambo or anything like that, but a couple grand here or there to get to hook a kid, that might work. So it is something that we do explore, but it just takes. Widener's program is like the Titanic. To try to change it, it's going to take a lot. It's a big deal, and for you guys that maybe you don't remember, I mean, the budget is almost exactly the same it was when we played. That's how much money they don't have.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's tough, man. It's tough to run a program, and they got a ton of kids that want to play, and they want to play at Widener because of everything that we've been through and before us and all that, because it's a winning program. But, it comes down to money, and there's a lot of opinions that say Widener shouldn't be in the MAC. They should be in the conference with Johns Hopkins and higher dollar schools. So there'd be more of a financial competition, and kids are going to Albright and some of those other schools for, 10 cents on the dollar versus Widener.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, but that's the situation. It's been the situation for a while. Yeah.
Well, Widener's like the Ivy League of the MAC,
For sure.
And how I got into it, I have no idea, but I slipped in somehow.
Yeah.
And,
Well.
matter of fact, when I went back to get my master's degree, I couldn't put down. I was like, man, no, Gary Long. I don't think they would have let me back in.
Yeah.
Right. But,
Well, you did the right thing. I mean, and for Bunta, your sake, I mean, when Gary was going through that or thinking about what to do, he and I talked. We talked about that. Was 20 years ago, dog, right? I mean, something like that. When did you graduate from Widener? The second time?
I graduated on my bachelor's in '97.
No, the second time you hammer.
Oh,
when you get your master's?
2005?
Yeah, so it was 20 years ago. So you were more than 20 years ago. I remember talking about it. I'm like, just go and sign up. They're going to take you. You're alumni, and they did. You didn't even have to take the test or anything, right? Like whatever they call it. No. So like, and then he and I talked about the coaching end of it, and I'm like, call Woody, and he was like, yeah, come help. So it was great. But that goes along with what we talked about the relation. I mean, whatever level you achieved, you stuck it out. And the coaches that were there, or, the administration, or whatever, they remembered. You put your time in and you got rewarded for it, dog. Whatever you did in those 2 years, whether you were a 4-year starter or whatever it was, All-American, this, that, or the other, or not, you put your time in and you got a reward. You got 2 of them. You got the coach for 5 years on the college level and the master's degree.
Yeah.
That was I mean, talk about a return, right? Seriously.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the experience, and then the kids that I was able to coach at Widener, right? That were phenomenal. Great kids, and the coaches we had at Widener, Gilly, Mike
Yeah.
Gill, he was our D line coach. I coached right next to Mike, and then Clemens before you went to Kutztown, and it was good. It was good to see the program still rise. We didn't make the playoffs, but we won a couple of ECAC games. When I was there, to get in, but. Great experience that I always, that really pushed me to really love the coaching in the game and be able to take it to the high school where I coached and give those kids, a bunch of kids, were able to go Division I and, had a couple of snips in the NFL, if you will, which was nice to see their careers and being, having a little piece of that with them, that is.
Yeah.
But no, it was all great guys. I wish I could get up there more. I haven't been home in 6 years, guys. I haven't been back home. I'm going back in June. I'm taking Jackson. But I remember right there looking at that sideline, Pete, right behind your shoulder is, if you remember the homecoming, Christ, pal, it's Jackson will be 15. He must have been about 3 years old at the time, right? And we're in that locker room giving a speech to the kids, and I was holding Jackson. He was a baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
That's
sure.
the last time I've been to Widener, man.
Wow.
Really?
Last time I've been there.
Yeah, I haven't been back since we moved to Florida. So, I mean, I'd like to get back too. I've only been back to once or twice the entire 5 years I've been here. So it's unfortunate, before we moved, I would go to 4 out of the 5 home games every year. I mean, we did it for years, and we'd always get a parking spot or something like that. It was good fun. It was great to do that. And it's such a hidden gem to have a killer program like that, just stuck in the middle of what is really a good hotbed for high school football, but it's just, it is weird to go there and how many times we'd have a game and we have 60 people in the stands or something like that. A bunch of moms and dads, and that's it, or whatever. It felt like it, but it wasn't until maybe a little later that they would generally fill up. I mean, I remember I played in high school. Danny Ademski and I played in the Delaware All-State game, and there were 17,000 people there. Go to Widener, there's 17 people there, but
it was the
funny.
band.
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously.
Band,
yeah. Some wino, laying in the stands. But but
I kind of wonder because you guys know. What, you want to say hi? Come here, Pete. Say hi to Jackson.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Jackson. What's up,
bud?
bud?
Jackson. Say hi to Bunta.
You look better than your old man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, well, that's the plan, buddy. That doesn't take much anymore, Bunta.
Hey, look like he got some size there, man. Look like he got some size.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, look at that. Showing off.
All right, get going.
Showing off.
Get going.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But you kind of wonder, when the Quick Stadium opened up, when that opened, 94 it opened.
Yeah.
The stadium, right? But you guys played in Old Main. So you kind of wonder what the crowds would have been with how good the team was in 94, 95 if we still played up at Old Main, because it was a little bit more accessible to the student body than walking all the way down.
Well,
so I kind of wonder what that would have looked like.
There would be people in those dorms at the, Sharples, and they would be on the balcony. It would be packed. I mean, homecomings, Ubuntu add to colors were amazing. All the tents and all the stuff were at the end zone near the library, and it was intense, man. It was really good. I mean, it was really neat. The field was terrible, and there was no locker room, and sometimes we go in the armory and we'd sit on the floor. We didn't even have chairs sometimes, like if I remember, but it was super, super old school and tough, but it was pretty cool. I mean, they'd get good crowds. They would get, I would venture to say they were better than Quick until we started to win. And, then it was pretty comparable, but it was still it was a really cool experience to be able to do both. And we're the only team that did both, that played in
Yeah.
both stadiums. So
I always wondered, like, if they would have renovated, Memorial Field, that would have been like an awesome setting right in the middle of
yeah,
campus, But you're right, Pete. I mean,
yeah,
I remember looking up at the stands, because I'm playing, used to playing Friday night football, right? I mean, we all did. And, now adjusting our schedule like Saturday afternoons, looking up at the stands, and you're like, man, where's everybody at?
yeah,
It was a big change. It was just like, okay, we're in business to play football here. We're gonna have fun and make the best out of it. I mean, that to me, was like the hardest change, right? The whole atmosphere, what we're
mhm,
here for. But I think a lot of it had to do with, everybody being on the same page, building that culture when we first arrived as freshmen, and then winning, right? I know losing was tough, right? I mean, coming off, you know, Pete, I think your team, like you guys won states, right? I mean,
no, no,
no,
no,
you did.
no,
Oh,
no. My senior year was terrible. Up until that point, my high school was super dominant, and my senior, because of that, we ended up playing 5 or 6 out of state games.
okay.
Like, and every team that we played, they're all Pennsylvania teams, and every team that we played made it to Pennsylvania playoffs.
Yeah.
So it was a tough run, and we were in going into the season #1 in the state, and
Okay.
we had a losing season. It was the first losing season in my high school in like 25 years. So but so then coming to Widener, we had the exact same record. We had a 3-6-1. So I had
Yeah.
3-6-1s in a row.
That's your fault then. That's why we were
Yeah,
three,
it's
six, and
right.
one.
It's
You brought
right.
that with you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was the thing, like when you come from a winning program, right? And then all of a sudden it's like you're not used to losing. And then it's like, how do you adapt and change and understand like the situation? Because for me, it's like, man, that's adversity at best, because I'm coming off from 2 district championships, coming off a state semifinal against the #1 team in the nation, Berwick, and then coming to Widener, it's like, man, is this for me? Because the easiest thing for people to do is walk away because they're not used to it or transfer out. And for me, it's like it took a lot because of the people, the players, and the friends that you develop, over that course of time. And it all paid off because I keep looking back, and till this day, I tell the stories to my kid, 15-year-old and 12-year-old, whether they want to hear it or not. I'll bring up records, I'll bring up stuff, I'll bring up stats, and they'll be like, "Oh, wow, Dad, man." And the other day we looked at the MAC records, like our offense from, you know, junior year and senior year. I was showing him like, our running backs, the yardage, the quarterback, how much we were like, passing the ball, how balanced we were. We led the league and 440 yards a game. I'll tell you what, that's a lot of yardage,
It's a
you
lot.
know.
And
It is.
we didn't really throw the ball.
No.
I mean, you think about it, you go back and look at the stats, and now for everyone, that's paying attention, if you want to talk particularly about the 1994 season, with the starting quarterback was Vic Amy, who was we were juniors, Brunton and I, and you two, Dog, and Vic Amy was a junior. We all came in together, freshmen. He only played 7 games. He's 7.5 games because he got hurt during the 7th game of the season at Susquehanna. And the guy finished in the top 10 in the Gagliardi Trophy finalists. And we were only throwing the ball like 14 times a game, 16 times a game, maybe,
Yeah.
completing 12 of them for 150 yards, 170 yards, and have 220 yards rushing, 240 yards rushing.
Yeah.
But at that year, we had both George and Anthony had over 800 yards rushing each. George Jones and Anthony Gossett, and Robson Little had about 600
Yeah.
yards.
Yeah.
So, it
He had
was,
a great offensive line though too. The O line was tight,
yeah, they
and
were, yeah,
and then you had Booth in the slot there, and he's doing his thing, across the middle and all that. It was just, it's almost like the Eagles now, right? You take a look at them, it's like pick your poison. You want to, stack the box and stop George and Anthony, then we're going to throw you. We got Booth. Who was the receivers back then? It was Booth, and who was out wide? You
Holland.
remember Booth?
Brannigan.
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah, Joe
Mike
Brannigan.
Holland, Brannigan, right?
And
Brannigan had
in
some.
'94 we also had Jimmy Burton,
Yep,
Burton.
who
JB.
could really blow the top off of people. I mean, it was it would there in '94 in particular, with '95 we from a history standpoint we switched a lot. We changed the offense around and things like that. We went from that 92, 3, and 4 we were double slot pro set, whatever the hell they called it. And then we went to complete spread in '95 pretty much. But in '94, there were no holes. I mean, there were really just nobody was weak. Everybody that played, particularly on offense, could have been at least all conference. I think we had like 17 all conference people in '94, and first through honorable mention. So it was really a very, very powerful offense. And the defense was just good, very good, very solid. And they were not, we didn't have 50 sacks or anything like that, but nobody was, putting up 35 points against us. That wasn't happening. So
no, it was stout, man. That defense.
Very stout.
I mean, Clements and Danny in the middle there. At the tackles, and you had OJ and Big Lloyd at the ends, and Antonio Moore led the nation in interceptions, right?
Yeah,
So
13.
back there, you had Scarpati back there at safety, and you had Blaze and a linebacker with Clarence Giles, and it was a hell. It was great. I mean, everyone played their role. Everyone did what their job was, and the great thing about the team, remember, there was no egos. No one got
Definitely
pissed
not.
off because they didn't touch the ball or they didn't make the tackle. It was, hey, what was the finishing score on the scoreboard? And it was a celebration for everyone.
You're definitely right about that, the ego part, because I felt like I never had an ego where I wanted to catch the ball every time. And I think a lot of that because we had a lot of talent around us. But the way Cubitt coach and the way our coaches, spread the ball around, we were a team. There was never a point where I'm like, there's some games I might caught like 2-3 balls. Guess what? I'm out there, I'm blocking, I'm doing whatever I can. It was a team sport. And you never saw me going back and like, man, with my head down with that. Like, you know what, dude, we're here together, man. And then this is the thing that I try to teach my kids too, because, he's trying to play receiver. And it's like, these things happen for, I said, being a receiver is different than being a running back. You're out there blocking, you're out there running routes, you're out there sometimes catching the ball. Some games you might catch, some games you might not. I said, you got to have thick skin, but also it's a team sport, and looking back to like how we played, I mean, we had fun. I think that's kind of like what it was, like, having fun, encompassing like that individual, record or individual perfection, whatever, that kids would want these days, because I look back and I'm like, man, I think it was like our senior year, I was like 100 yards away from 1,000 yards. But you know what? I didn't care. For me, it's more about we won as a team. We won the MAC. I wish we could have went further, with the, Division III playoffs. But you know what? To me, records, touchdowns, whatever, and to be honest with you, I wasn't even in contention. I wasn't even sure like where my career would have been when it came to playing at Widener until the senior year. They're like, oh, you're going to break the receiving record. I'm like, oh, okay. Like to me, it was like, oh, okay. I'm like, great. Like people like, I mean, I'm more like, I was a team person. I was never about records because for me, it wasn't like my thing. Even in high school, I wasn't even close to breaking any record, right? For me, it was more about playing. The records come with it, great, whatever, but it was more of the, for me, I felt like the team helped me achieve those numbers, those catches, and those yards.
Yeah.
It wasn't like me, like going out there doing my own thing. Yeah, I had to catch the ball to make things happen, but, the line had a block, like I had to do my part to like make sure I get open, right? I mean, everything is all together, but it wasn't me. It was the team. I think that's kind of why,
Yeah.
like, I was pretty humble about all this stuff, so.
I never thought about it either, dog. Boone, I never thought about individual anything. I didn't really even know that was possible. And because
Yeah,
we didn't have
exactly.
a great freshman year. I don't recall anybody getting any kind of award or anything like that. So, and then I don't think we really even did. And then when we had our sophomore season, Bunta and I, Gary, dog, we pledged the fraternity during our sophomore football season. So what talk about just doing it all in one shot and they'll tell you the story. So I don't know if we were in at that point or we were still pledging, but do you remember, Bunta, we had to play in like the fraternity football tournament?
Yes,
You
yes,
remember that? So we
yes.
played and we ended up going. Of course, we had everyone on the team was in the fraternity football team. So we go to the final game and we win the finals. And all of us, there was a football team meeting at the whatever that building was, the assembly building, and we were all late for the meeting. And Cubit was freaking pissed. He was pissed. We all showed. We were covered in dirt and mud and everything, right? And he was so mad, right? So we're just sitting there waiting for him, and he goes to start, and he talks for a minute, and then he says, "And we have some awards to give out." And I'm oblivious, and banged up from playing. We're playing full on tackle football, no pads, and the first person he says, we have some players that were nominated first team all conference, and the first person he named off was me, and I was like, what? I had no idea. Like, really? And then I got the award, and then Coach McGrain was one of the offensive line coaches, comes up to me later on and he said, Pete, you were unanimously voted. And I'm like, what does that mean, coach? He goes, all the coaches thought you were the best center. I'm like, what? I had no idea that was even possible. And I was like, it blew my mind. Right. So, I mean, but I wasn't in it for any of that. I didn't know. I wanted to quit every day. It was beat up like for 4 straight years. I wanted to quit every single day. But that's the kind of stuff that it wasn't in my head. I didn't go into every season going, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. I wasn't that goal oriented in that regard. Maybe later on I thought, okay, maybe I could do more after that, but I wasn't aware. I wasn't there for that reason at all, which I think made a difference because it wasn't selfish. I wasn't there for a selfish reason. I was there for the team and for the history and for all the the brotherhood end of it. I mean, I could come up with things that happened during games and stories, and we've covered some of them, and we'll cover more of them over the time. But I remember way more dorm, locker room, lunchroom, bus bullshit that happened than not. So it's so many things happened, so many funny things, and so much just life outside of the practice field or whatever. It was just. It's such a trip, and my life is so much enriched because of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I look back to Pete and Mad Dog, the best part about D3 football, and I look at today's, programs and even in the high school level, we were pretty much after the season, we were done. Live on your own, do whatever you want, and then you come back for camp. Some people or I would say most of the guys were out of shape or injured, that week one, always by the training table with AJ and trying to get, ice and whatever treatment, and now it's like football year round. The commitment is totally different, versus like when we played. So, I don't know if I could survive back then if they had the same program and commitment they are today. Because, that for me was like the game changer, playing Division II versus, going to Division III, knowing that I could still have fun. We still have our life, doing things, not fully committed to football, but still, doing football activities on your own. Right. And because that to me, it's like, if you're really in it, then the workouts, everything on your own or with others, it's going to come, right? And when it comes to camp, yeah, you're gonna have competition, and you want to be able to, be ready, for that. But now it's like, for example, here, in Mannheim, my son has Wednesday passing workouts, Sunday night team workouts. Football is like months and months away.
Yeah.
The commitment these kids have, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
So,
my kids are doing the same thing. They have 7-on-7
yeah,
stuff on Wednesdays, and then they were doing stuff on Sundays, and some other training, and in between running track and everything else. I
yeah,
mean, it's not as it's certainly not on a college level, but they're keeping things fresh, I think, and they even have the linemen out there doing some drills and stuff like
yeah,
that. And it's funny, they get out there and they're like, oh, my legs, because they're because they're being, getting in their stance and stuff like that. They're not used to it from a few months ago, right? So, but
yeah,
it's a new way, and now that they don't do the two-a-days, I think that helps in some way too, and that lets them do the stuff in the off season, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah, it is a different, isn't it a different mindset? I mean, if we didn't have that culture, it wasn't like that. They weren't even allowed to really almost talk to us, right, in the off season, and they just prayed you guys went to the weight room in summer, right?
Yeah.
Remember? I mean, how many people actually mailed in the thing that they did this, that, and the
Oh
other,
yeah.
right? Like nobody did
yeah.
that, right? And I mean, I was working out, like
Yeah.
I didn't know have any money for a stamp. What the hell?
let alone for the AT&T phone calls from your dorm, that you
Yeah,
get
right.
charged.
Shit. I ain't doing all that.
That's
I'm
right.
working out, man. I'm working out. Oh my
So,
God.
speaking of kids and family, Mad Dog, like, we saw your son there. Like, do you have more or what?
You're on
Now
mute,
he's my
bud.
only one, Buta. God bless me with one, thank God.
You
But
only
now
have one?
he's it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So he's
And,
doing he played football. He's just second year playing ball at the middle school. He'll be a
okay.
freshman going in this next year.
Okay.
And then he's gonna wrestle, which is awesome. And then he's
Nice.
gonna throw shot put for track as well.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
he did pretty well in baseball, but he kind of got away from it, and which is cool. But his heart's on football. He loves it. And so right now he's working out 4 times a week, with the lift, and it's amazing because he still has athletics. What's crazy down here, guys, is that the athletic periods for football is built into the actual day of the academics. So it's not an extracurricular where they're going to practice after school. They're actually practicing during the school day,
Wow.
right? Where we were different. So, so their gym time is really their athletics.
Okay.
So they're
Okay.
doing a lot of running right now and conditioning, but he's getting in 4 days a week with the lifting and with the program, which is good. The
Nice.
one thing I'll tell you, you guys hit on, how specialized the sports are now, right? And you see it all the time. You see these kids playing travel, select, and I've got kids down here that play baseball all year round.
Yeah.
And then by the time it's worth anything, to where, hey, this is an opportunity for you to shine, they're so burned out they don't want to do it anymore. So I told Jackson, I said, we're not focusing on one. We're going to focus on a couple, because every sport that you're in is going to help the foundational pieces of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's what he's, focusing in and doing. Jackson's physical, boot, right? He's not like Pete's son Christian that's going to burn everyone in the 100. All Jackson wants to do is hit people, So, he's like dad. He's like his dad, right? When you talk about the envelopes and the cards, I sent mine in, and all it had was all the lifting. It never had any running in it because I wasn't running for shit. I'm like, I'm going to hit people.
Yeah.
That's it, right? But he loves the physicality of it, and I think he'll do real well wrestling. I know Boonta, you're involved in wrestling a little bit with your kiddos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My youngest, he's all about wrestling. I mean, to a point where I mean, he's only 12, but he's playing this last year of, we call it midget football before they become like the middle school kids. And then, um, and to a point right now where he enjoys that sport so much, like he wants to commit to like wrestling year round, which is kind of like what you
Wow.
just, and,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, because there's different types of wrestling, right? You got like, folk style, then you got the Greco, and then you got, freestyle. So there's ways of like, but his thing is, you know, he wants to be an MMA guy, and
Oh, does he?
I'm like, already, like you want to get beat up. You're only like in seventh grade, man, like you already have visions of like, you want to be in that realm of, fighters and boxers and, but I mean, those are little kids, right? I mean, there's kind of like, but for me, you know, I have arguments with my wife a lot because my wife's like, they should play all these sports. They should do this, and I'm just like, well, if he enjoys wrestling, like at what point do I make that commitment, right? That
Mhm.
he wants to wrestle year round. He wants to be that because we're seeing it right now. We go to these tournaments. I mean, you could tell when these kids wrestle year round, like they're
Yeah.
pure wrestling. That's all it.
Mhm.
That's all they do. That's all they know, you know. And I think like, I said, you know what? I think you can come close to that, but we're not going to do year round. We're going to lift. We're going to do other things. We're going
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
and hopefully, and put all that stuff together. Like it's not always like being on the mat and doing this stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
like it's tough, man. It's tough because they're up there, they're doing all these challenges and going up against stiff competition. And the worst thing is trying to keep their head up, because they just lost, and how do you kind of like talk to them, about like the next step, so that, losing isn't, like we say, losing isn't everything. But to these kids, it's easier said than done because it's very emotional,
Yeah.
and, but yeah, no, it's, yeah, again, um, I like to, like I said, maybe like two sports, just to keep them, because you're right, it is a foundation for other sports,
Yep.
whether it's mental, whether it's physical, it's learning, continuously learning.
Yeah,
So,
it's moving different body parts. It's getting
yep,
coached by different people.
yep,
It's different
that's the
groups of
key word, brother.
friends. It's
Yep,
different. I think I'm obviously a big proponent of that. Of, playing multiple sports. I think in high school you can, if you wanted to knock it down to one or two, maybe that's
yep,
fine. It's but I think up until that point, I think it should be as much as possible, because
Yep.
then you can at least go back and say, well, I tried it. It wasn't for me. Okay, fine. I mean, my youngest has tried all kinds of stuff, lacrosse, I mean, it doesn't work out. He's not doing it. So
yeah,
whatever he does, it's ultimately to help football. So that's how we've pushed it, because football, I mean, he would play football 365 days a year, padded the whole thing, right? So, but that doesn't work that way. And he's not interested in flag, because it's
Mhm.
just not the same.
yeah,
So, all right, well then you're going to do other things. You're going to run track. And like he got into javelin, throwing the javelin,
That's
and
cool.
he's
Yeah.
he's only an eighth grader, and they got him thrown on the varsity meets. He's 7 feet away from the high school record already
jeez,
at our high school. So like it's crazy. So I mean the kid's got a rocket arm, but I mean he just started. They don't even have a coach. They just said try it, and he got some videos, and he's like, oh, all right. So like he's got to meet tomorrow. So I think that's important. And then, like I said, that actually what I said about meeting other people. I mean, there are some girls that from the track team that are throwing the javelin, and he would never have talked to these girls
yeah,
he's just not there yet from a maturity level, but now he is, and he's able. You see him coming off the field with two 10th graders, and he's an 8th grader, and he's talking to them like, okay, he feels comfortable. I think that's important. I think he would not get that from football,
right,
right?
Mhm.
You're not going to get. They're going to just bust your chops and whatever. So I think it's a good thing. I can't see. I mean, you could find a negative, but I don't see it. I don't see what it would be. Um,
Yeah, it builds their confidence, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
and they're, and like down here, guys in Texas, obviously wrestling's not big,
yeah,
right? So it's not predominant. So Jackson got onto the wrestling by watching. We watch Penn State wrestling all the time down here, the Big Ten wrestling, and he goes nuts. I mean, he loves. He's like, Daddy, I got to go to Penn State, right? And so he's very visual learner, guys, right? And so he's watching what they're doing. I'm explaining to him, hey, that's a takedown. That's an escape, and he loves it so much that, every Friday night we got it on Boonta, right?
Yeah.
And, and I record him and he loves it. The national championships we watch all the time, for the college. So,
Yeah. Yep. It's coming up. It's
dude,
coming
one
up.
thing
So.
I do with Jackson, right? And the same as you guys. I don't want him to grow up and say, I didn't get to experience this, right? And so I want to be able to open him up and provide him with all the experiences I get, because I'm not living through him. That's the problem with parents today. They live through their kid, right? We don't live through our kid. What we did, we did. I tell Jackson, you're Jackson. Whatever Jackson's going to do, you're going to do. But I want to be able to open up all kinds of opportunity for him so he can experience it and not just say, okay, my dad always said I'm going to play this. But you know what? You may love football, but when you get on the mat, you may like that even more than football. And it may bring you somewhere, or throwing the shot, whatever it may be. So I'd rather him get the feel of it all now. And then, later on say, you know what, Dad, I wish I wrestled. Or you know what, I wish I did this, and we can't go do it now. And let him make the decision on what he fits into.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Mad Dog, we're talking about Texas, and we're talking about sports. You're not a Cowgirls fan, are you? Because you live in Texas.
No, buddy. Listen, Jackson, we're 4 for 4 down here, pal. Right? So Jackson was born up there, and he came down here when he was 3.
I think I see a Cowboys hat in the background. Is that blue thing back here?
No, Cowboy hat here. So now he wears his Eagles stuff at school all the time, man. Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers all the time.
Oh,
so
man,
no,
he's probably
I'm raising him right
every day.
Yeah, he knows. So when we come up in June, actually, Boonta, I'm coming up June 18th. That Friday the 20th, I'm taking him to the Phillies game against the Mets.
Okay.
So he's all excited. Yeah, man. He loves it. So, no,
nice.
He's Philadelphia everything, pal. Yeah. He knows better. I'm going to raise him right.
All right.
You don't get a choice.
No Dallas fans here. My father-in-law's a Dallas fan, but we kick him out of the house, when it's time. Like, this is a Philadelphia house.
Yeah.
So, I know it's crazy.
Yeah, because
I didn't know, but Adamski lives here in Austin. I'm about 45 minutes from him. So I'm right in between Austin and San Antonio is where I live. I work down in South San Antonio. But Danny's about 45 minutes from me. I haven't seen Danny since I've been here in 10 years, but he's about 45 minutes from me. Pete, I saw you more than I've seen Danny.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, man? Everybody does what they do, bro.
Visit.
Yeah.
Everybody does what they do.
Well,
yeah. What's that?
Let me move around here. It's telling me like I got poor network quality. I wonder if hold on a second.
Tell the kids to turn off the Xbox, man. Turn off the Xbox. Right?
Fortnite.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Oh my gosh, dog. That's funny. Funny.
I'm gonna go back to my desk here. Let me
It's a mobile podcast action here, man. There you go.
Absolutely. So, all right, I got some juice now.
There you go. Looking good, buddy.
Cool. So
that is definitely a PA home there, brother.
What do you mean?
You got the ceiling and the wood paneling, baby. You're looking. I'm telling you, man. It looks like you're in a cabin over there or something, baby.
I
forgot what
came from
I forgot
the
what it was like
outside.
in PA,
I was
man.
just.
Yeah. It looked good, man. That's a nice. It's like a porch or something. That looked good out there, man.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
very
nice. It was a patio. Yeah. So, but I was a couple weeks ago. I mean, we went down to watch the Eagles. We still own our house in Philly, so we never sold it. So, because my wife still goes down there to work, and we drove down there Sunday night to watch the Eagles, win the Super Bowl. And we were out in the streets, Broad Street, partying. Then, got home. It was like, 1 o'clock, 1:30. It was pretty tiring. Then the following Friday, drove back down. I actually went down Thursday night, to watch the parade, dude. That was an event and a half. It was so awesome experiencing that. So I saw Hamill there, Big Jim, Snock, Gallagher. Do you guys remember all those
Oh
names?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we were
Yeah.
down there in South Philly, celebrating and watching the parade. And so we were a couple rows back. Um, my son, I don't know, he's shy. He didn't want to go up to the front row trying to get up there. But, the guys got out of the bus and start shaking everybody's hands. And, it was awesome. It was an awesome, event.
Great.
So
Hopefully we'll get another one next year.
we should. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully. I mean, I don't know why I feel like, as far as like the Eagles, feel like we have everybody that we need to win.
Yep.
We got, like I said, we got all the weapons, offense, defense,
Mhm.
and the coaches. I mean, can't ask for, anything else. So,
I'm
No, I
excited
think
for
that'd
him.
be great. Yeah.
but I mean, I wish, Pete, I mean, you probably have more connections and probably up to date information with Widener. What is the expectation over there, bud? What's going on with the recruiting and the players?
Yeah, I haven't talked to coach in a minute, but they beat their feet, man. They're out there. I know that they were planning a trip. I'm not sure when, but they were actually coming down here to Florida. They were going to do a full tour of Florida and try to bring people up from here. So, I don't know. I haven't heard much. I'm sure that they're probably starting to finalize more and more people. I know, this is kind of when those things usually happen. So, we'll see. But I haven't checked in with him. I need to check in with him just on some other business end of things. But he always gives me an update whenever we talk anyway. I know they've had some good kids, and I know their team was very young this year. I know they lost some seniors and some top people because 2 years ago I think they were like 7-4 or something like that. So they had a decent season this year. I think they were 5-5 or
Yeah,
something like that. But
some close games. I
yeah,
watched some
so,
of those
yeah,
games. I was following
yeah,
them, and I did watch a few. Telecast. But at the same time, I mean, it could have been either way. Like it could, from a 5-5 season, they could have been like an 8-2 season or something. It
yeah,
was
close.
they were
Young, yeah, but
close.
like I said, it's similar. Young, what we experience. A young team, potentially on the verge. Things are changing in the MAC. Del Val did not win the MAC this year.
Who won it?
Was it Stevenson
Susquehanna.
or
Kings?
no? Susquehanna's in it. They're not in it anymore.
What
Dog.
wasn't it?
No, what
Kings?
are they in?
Was it Kings? Was it? I forget who it was,
It
but it
was. It
was.
was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it
right. It
wasn't.
was. It was some team. No, but
Was it?
Susquehanna. They made it pretty deep in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. They did. But they're
They
not
went
in
to
the
the
MAC anymore.
semifinals. Susquehanna.
Yeah,
They went to the
and they got
semifinals.
yeah, they
Yeah.
got hammered
Well, the team that
in the
they
semis.
lost to blew out Mount Union in the
Yeah,
national championship.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, Susquehanna, I think they lost like 66 to
yeah. It
3
was
or something.
brutal. Yeah, it was
But
bad.
they
But that's,
made it
I
to
mean,
the
they haven't really
semifinals.
been that far in forever.
Right.
They haven't really been that. I mean, when we were playing them back in the earlier '90s, they were pretty good back then. And then I don't know if they fell off or what, but um, yeah, that's they everything moved around since. There's a lot of different teams in the MAC now
Yes,
than there
sir.
used to be. There's a few of the Del Vals and the Lycomings and things like that, but there's still some that there's a bunch that are new, that or like maybe they started a program 5-6 years ago and now they're up there because they have the money. Stevenson and a few others that are very, very competitive already out of the gate because everything they have is brand new.
Yeah.
And that's again one of the challenges. I mean, this, like I said, this stadium right here is 30 years old, 31
Yeah.
years old now, and it hasn't changed one bit, not a
Wow.
bit. Nothing. That the press box is supposedly going to be redone at some point. The only thing they did was put Manlove has a bust, like a statue type thing behind the stadium now, commemorating him. But and the field is turf. I think it looks like it's turf there. But I mean that's it. They put a new track in at some point, things like that. But the stadium is exactly the same. It really has never really been finished. They never landscaped and put, things like that. They do try things like putting wraps on things and stuff like that, but it is 30 years old now. Old scoreboards. I mean, everything. Like, you go to some of
Yeah.
these other bigger programs, you go, again, the only thing that makes things move is money. End of story, period. Okay. And Widener just doesn't have it. And Widener's alumni does an okay job of donating to the school in general, but not to the football program. Okay. I mean, there are guys that I've spoken to that we played with, or maybe older, that they graduated and never set foot on campus again. Never. Not one time, not a dollar, nothing. And it's let me ask you a question about Widener. Who's the alumni director? You can't answer that question because you don't know, and nobody knows. I don't know either.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of this. So one of the people that I work with in the Brotherhood is named, and Boonta, Nick Poulos.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, for your information, dog, we bring you up to speed. Nick was on the 81 national championship team. He was one of the kickers. His wife is on the board of Widener. He is heavily involved with lots of things. He's the one guy who's like always taking pictures, a photographer, and his son takes in millions of pictures for them, right? And he actually was up for the job at one point. And it was sad how they treated him, because it was like a phone interview, and his wife was like, "What the? You live like a mile from the school. Like, they literally live like a mile from the school. Why aren't they taking you out and like whining and dining you for something like this?" And it didn't come through. But like, his story is when, like, Penn State, like, they're big Penn State backers too. They go to all the games and everything. They have a house up in State College. When Penn State does a graduation, they're going through the ceremony, and at one point the alumni director comes out, and before they turn their tassels, they say to everybody, "Okay, everybody, it's time to give back. And the first year is on us, but after that, you're expected to donate every single year." And they hammer everybody for it. And people donate. They're happy to do it. And actually, you could donate, which we should do. Well, you can become a lifetime member of the Alumni Association for like $500. And that's it. You're a member forever, and you can get all kind of perks. We don't do anything like that. Nothing. So we were trying to do it with the Brotherhood. We had all kinds of ideas.
It fizzled.
Yeah, because we could not get anybody to put the muscle up to help, and it's sad. It really is. We had tons of ideas for helping people with jobs and resumes, and we could start a tab at Maggie Mae's. You go down there and get 2 free beers for a game, and we just couldn't get anybody to do it. And it's sad. That's a sad state of affairs in terms of, the program in general. We do donate. Typically the Brotherhood does somewhere around $10,000 to $15,000 in donations directly to the football program every year. We're always buying equipment and clothing and all that stuff. So it's not like it's unfounded, but it should be 100,000 or more. And it could easily be that if we had enough people that weren't cheap. And that's the truth. People are cheap. The $200, a lot of people think it's too expensive. And it's sad. It really, it's a shame, but that's where we are. That's home, baby. That's what it is. So that's the truth.
Who else is on that, Pete, with like you're the president of it, but who else is pulling, like up with you, that type of weight of trying to keep the thing going?
Nick and I.
Just
Boonta helped for quite a while. Boonta did help for quite a while. And it's just been Nick and I. That's it. We can't get anybody to help. Nobody wants to stick their neck out. Nobody wants to make phone calls. I mean, you ask people to do something, or someone will come to me, dog, and say, "We should do this." I say, "Great, can you help run with it?" Crickets. Yeah. Or you'll see people on the Brotherhood Facebook page completely complaining about the coaching and everything, but they won't do anything at all. And I called people out on it and never hear from them again. It's sad.
So Pete, I got a question for you. and maybe this might have been discussed before. I may have missed it, but what happened to all the money that the big donor that gave to Widener, the guy I believe that named the field after his family or his wife,
Quick.
whatever?
Oh, the Hirschberg,
Yes, Hirschman,
Hirschner, whatever.
or yeah.
Well, so that obviously didn't go to the football program, but that went to the school, and as part of their, I guess the stipulation, they named the field after the mother. So
Yeah.
it's like Quick Stadium. What I can't remember the Hirschman Field at Quick Stadium.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it says it on the press box.
yeah,
Hirschman Field.
yeah,
So, but that's it. But I mean, that went to the school. I mean, that's you know, that's when we work with the development people, that they do try to help, but their goals need to be met for the school, not specifically for the football program. And if the school was a little bit more funded,
yeah.
maybe a little bigger, there might
But
be an athletics development person, but there isn't one. So
yeah, but what
yeah,
was that person? I mean, involved, I guess, with football previously, or what?
I
Like
think one of the sons were somebody was
yeah,
one of them was, yeah.
yeah.
But
I mean, just
but like that's somebody that Nick talks to, or has talked to.
yeah,
And to be truth be told, because somebody like that donates so much millions of dollars to the
yeah, yeah,
school, we
yeah,
don't even ask them to do anything. All we do is actually, for someone with that much prominence, we just ask them to be part of the brotherhood, and then they can at least say, "Oh yeah, I'm in the brotherhood," and that might drum up some interest.
yeah.
But I don't go to the guy and say, "Give me $200." That's not right. I can't do that. And it's hard for me to actually go to somebody and say,
Yeah,
"Look, you need to donate some big money." I can't do that. It's not something that I've been comfortable with doing. It just, and then we've had big donors. And when I say big donors, we've had people donate, 5 or 10 grand, and which is significant for us. And
yeah,
I've always called them and written them and something, either a letter or an email thanking them and things like that. But there's no one's dropping 100K on us at any time soon. So
yeah. It's tough. I mean, like when it
yeah,
comes to like fundraising, donations. I mean, it seems like everybody's doing it at all levels. Like from the collegiate
yeah,
level to the high school level to like the youth level. It's just incredible how much funding all these
yeah,
programs need, and it's like
yeah,
everybody's like super stretched. It's tough, man. That's why I
yeah,
was just wondering, like,
yeah,
how much of that money, has been funneled, to the football program. It'd be nice. It's like, oh, here, you get 50,000 of this or 100,000 to start, and then that's it, whatever. But I
yeah,
feel like, yeah. I mean, the bigger thing is the school, right? If the school doesn't exist, the football program doesn't exist, right? I mean, it's
right,
one or the
right.
other, right? I mean, I know it's tough, man. So Gary, I mean, Mad Dog, where how much are you gonna donate to like Widener, man?
Yeah, I do it each month. I'm donating.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Gary donates. Yeah, I talked him into it. Twisted
yeah,
his arm, Boone. Twisted his arm. You know.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, it's
gotta
the
have my
thing, and
wife
look,
do it.
it all helps, right? It's all, and
Yeah,
I think the education part of it is important, because a lot of people don't realize that you can, for any institution, you can donate into specific pieces. Like if you wanted to donate to the math department,
yeah,
you can,
yeah,
and you just write the check to the Widener math department, or Widener football team, and that, or Widener football brotherhood. It goes right to us. So and as an organization, Boone, this, Gary, for your information, I mean, everything's super transparent. We always publish what we've done, where, how, we'll tell anybody asks how much money we have. We'll just, here it is right here. We're not,
mm,
we have never taken a dollar from it, never will,
yeah.
and It all goes to the program, and the program has discretion on what to use it for. All we ask for is just let us know. Just tell us if it's cool or not. Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
we could do that. So, I mean, we bought, like I said, tons of stuff. I think we spent like 12.5 last year on all kinds of gear and camera equipment and all kinds of stuff like that. So, whatever we can do to help, but it's and the things that, like, what you're donating, Gary, that it goes to the bottom line, man. It does add up. People,
Yeah.
that's the thing that everyone doesn't understand. If you could throw $20 a month at it and get 50, 60 guys doing that every year, 100 guys, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that goes right to the program that coach can recruit better for, and slide a couple NIL deals in there, things like that, to make maybe we get back to being 8-2, 9-1 every year with some of that money. I mean, the colleges that we compete with have money.
Yeah.
I mean, they have brand new everything, best weight rooms, I mean, everything, and they come to Widener and they're like, it's drab. It's not sexy anymore. 30 years ago it was sexy, but not anymore. And you don't need to even go to the campus to see it. You can do a virtual tour, and if it doesn't light up there, why am I going to drive all the way down to Chester
Yeah.
for all that? So again, you want a winning team. It's not about buying the players, not Division III. No, you need the facilities and the cool weight room and some of the other things that bring the right players in.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not always. I mean, there's still a lot of the tradition there, right? There's still a lot. I mean, look, it is what it is, and nobody in the MAC has what we have. Even Del Valle, with their run over the last 20 years, I mean, they've been super dominant for a long time. Still didn't win any national championships. Hasn't really gotten them anywhere more than what we have. We're still
Yep.
way ahead of them on the all-time wins and all the other stuff. So, and it looks like it could be switching. And, again, if you win the MAC, you're in the playoffs. It's automatic bid now. So, we're not that far off, but,
Yeah.
again, it's money.
Yeah, it's money, and and I think what has us, like, from a education, perspective, I mean, how many Division III schools have like the programs that we have, right? I mean, you have Widener Law, engineering, nursing, business. I mean, we're very diverse. Hotel, restaurant management. I mean, everything that is there. Not all these schools, have it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, competitive wise from, the education side, I mean, we as a small school, we provide everything like these big schools, provide.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Pete, how
That's
many active members are in the Brotherhood now?
not many, Gary, unfortunately. I guess we just go by who's actively paying. I don't know if it's 30, I'd be shocked. And it's tough because, you know, like what happened with you. You changed credit cards or you whatever,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, oh, we gotta track you down and get you back, and that was the biggest mistake we made was to not have an auto renewal. And the
Hmm.
guys guys that started the Brotherhood, that was part of it, but the guys that were really running it were completely against it. And I'm like, we have to do this. I fought it, and they said, nope, nope, nope. And it's okay. Well, we got the first year that they started Brotherhood, they raised 50 grand. And then they put on a golf outing and did even better. It was fantastic.
yeah,
And then the second year, it was like literally nothing. So you have to re-up everybody, every single. This is the hard part. You got to have 30 or 40 people reach out to 500 people and try to get them to re-up every year. I mean, no, we have the auto renewal now, but it still needs maintenance. Thank God we don't have 1,000 members. How would we track everybody down every year and get all this done? With everyone changing phones and phone numbers and whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Oh.
we were calling people, Gary, to originally, maybe a couple years back, and we called, it was their mom and dad's house. like the database that Widener has is terrible.
You didn't have updated
And
information. Yeah.
no. So this is a struggle that we've always had. Now we can get some more updated stuff. I mean, they it's gotten a little better, but it's still not great. And things change, and you try to track people. I mean, it took me a while to track down Bunta. We used to talk all the time. Then the guy switches his phones and, hey, don't call me, don't text me back and nothing. And I'm like, I don't talk to him for 2 years or whatever. So I thought he was mad at me. But but like, it's such a heavy lift that, we lean on the people that we can rely on. We add a few people here and there, every year we add a couple people. Someone drops off, we finally reach out to them again, get them back going, but it's not an automatic, thing. It's really tough. But I mean, shit, if we could just get the majority of I tell you what, dog, 10 years ago, we had a reunion, 94 team, and the 20th anniversary. We had a bunch of guys come to the game, and they had us all go out at halftime, and they introduced everybody and all this stuff. And I don't know if you were there, Boone. I don't remember if you came to that or not. But
no, I missed that one.
I mean, I had seen. I mean, there were guys that I hadn't seen since we graduated. Anthony Gossett, stuff like that, right? I asked everyone. Here's the thing: go do it. Sign up. Oh yeah. I'll do it when I get home. Not one of them. Zero.
Really?
And yep, not a one.
Wow.
And it's sad. It's and I don't think any of them have been back either to any games, but that's what it is. And another thing to it, they tried to start a program to raise money for this and have like a membership before we got off the ground, and they were asking for $800 a year. And you know how many people signed up? Zero. And I said to the development guy, I said, what do you think do you know your audience? I said, half the people that graduated from Widener are teachers. They don't have $800. They're not doing that. That's their phone bill every year and everything else. Like, forget it, man. It's not happening. So, that's why we settled on 200. Figuring, okay, that's a night out shit, I spent $80 at Chick-fil-A for my family. So $200 to send to Widener is it's not too big of a deal. But, one out of every 4 people complained to me that $200 is too much. So I said, well, then give me $50. I don't give a shit. Just do something. Right. So you can say you did it and I can rely on you for that $50. And people just shake their head. So, it's tough, man. It is a heavy lift. I mean, we've done our best, and I think that at some point the tank runs dry. So I don't know if I'm not sure if anyone wants to take over or what, but we've raised a lot of money. We raised $100,000, so that's something, and donated about 80 of it. So, there's something to be said for that.
I love to help out in any way I can, Pete. You know what I mean? I'm call the guy tomorrow and get my 200 in.
Yeah.
No problem. But to do some of the legwork. But what sucks for us is we're so far away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't tell you next time I'm going to make a homecoming game in October. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because of my schedule down here at school and everything else, and it's tough. Like, you're in Tampa, I'm in Texas. And
thank God, thank God Nick Poulos is there, and he goes over there all the time. He's done tons of stuff, and for us, like, you guys, I'm not sure if you're not sure if you know or not, but AJ retired this year. So we wrote him a thank you letter, and he had it framed and gave it to AJ, and then they had Widener had an All-American this year, and we just did that too. We just got the letter printed, like real nice color, and Nick was getting it framed, and he can drop those things off and do those things and make it special for everybody. And he's been there for photo ops and other things like that I can't attend anymore. I would have, I did do it all the time when we lived in the area, but I think someone's going to have to take over that's local, that wants to be involved. And, we're all the three of us are in identical issues, identical situations.
Yep.
We all have teenage boys that are playing 100,000 sports a day, and we're busy. And, the chance to go to something outside of that is really hard. And a couple years from now, maybe it can happen, when they're gone or off to college or whatever they're working or whatever they're doing. But, that's been the tough part, to get people involved. And the guys that are older now, that are, the kids are in college or older or whatever, they tend to get more involved, and they're happy to join the meetings and things like that. But, keeping them involved has been a challenge as well.
Yeah, I think you hit
Yeah.
the spot on that one too, Pete, because, everybody, not only with our kids, with sports and everything. I mean, we, like I said, you know, we volunteer our times, to coach and do other things, and it's just not there, to have that extra minute, extra second, whatever, to try to even sit down to, be involved, and it's hard. But hopefully, you know, once these kids, move on and, you know, through college and, yeah, maybe that might be the time when we can actually sit back and like, can we really do something, and start thinking about like, okay, what's that next stage look like, and maybe do some real fundraising. But that's us thinking, maybe we could start
Yeah.
planting that seed with those guys that already there, that their
Yeah.
kids are done, and see what opportunities they have, and I don't know. It's just like I said, we want to spend as much time as we can, with our kids, right? And support them.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like an extra thing if we have time. It's hard to be fully committed, to do, a lot of these things that we want to do, right? To support Widener football and bring it back to where we were, championship level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's unfortunate. I mean, I know I've spent hundreds of hours on this,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like I said, it raised 100 grand out of it. And, that we've counted. The some of the work that happened previously wasn't part of the quote unquote brotherhood, but it all went to the program, and it has helped. I mean, every single year we hear from one of whoever the coach is at the time, and it's been a big help, and it's done its job. I would love for it to for everything that we do, add another zero to the end of it, right? But
Mhm.
it's and if it wasn't there, I don't know what they would do. But it's as best as it's going to be. I can't put much more into it than I have. It's been it's got to be going on 10 years we've been doing it. So um but it's been a good experience. I mean, I'm happy to do it. I mean, like I said, it's home for us. I mean, I said it to Dog the other night. I mean, it's our Notre Dame. I mean, that's where we went to school, right? So
Mhm.
uh I you know I've done everything I can at this point. So I'm not unhappy with it. I'm very happy with it. I wish it was more. Everybody, you can always say that. So
Yeah.
If
no.
there's any way I can help, Pete, let me know, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll do what I can do for
Yeah.
sure. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want the thing to go wayside,
No,
at
I don't
all.
think it will, Dog. I think it's just a matter of, who's the next crew. I mean, I haven't decided what I would like, what I want to do yet, but is there another, we need to have some successors, right? I mean, we're all 50 at this point and busy, and Nick is, more than 10 years older than we are, so he's, but he's in a good spot. I mean, he can spend the time on it, so maybe that age level is better running it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I have some thinking to do. It's been a minute, and again, we've had some modest success, so it's just
Are
a matter
you?
of.
Hey, Pete, are you involved in any of the board meetings or any like updates, when there what kind of representation, we have from the Brotherhood, but also from, the football program, when they're discussing budgets and things like that, and
Yeah, we're
improvements.
we're on the small side of things,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, if we were raising $100,000 a year, we might have more pull and say from a larger school perspective.
Hmm.
But given the size that we are,
Yeah.
we don't have any pull like that, and we can't. I mean, we've tried to get on the donation calendar that the school runs. Every so often they run up something. Giving Day, this and that, whatever. So we were going to send out some items, and the development office shut us down because they didn't want too many asks in a certain time frame.
Hmm.
And so that's again, we live, it is what it is, right? They're going to reach out to all these alumni, but so we got put on the back burner for some of those things. So, but the other part to that too is that we can kind of do whatever we want because no one's watching either. So like the down at the stadium, there's a couple of rooms in the back, right? When you walk up the ramp, there's the snack stand, and then there's behind the stands, there's the bathrooms, but there's a couple of actual rooms
Yeah.
underneath the stadium. Well, one of them is empty, and it's been empty for a long, long time. It's never really used for anything other than just throwing junk in there. So we've requested, and it's been all settled and approved, to have that made into an alumni room. And we were going to fund rehabbing it. Like the school was going to have it painted and freshened up. We were going to go buy TVs, couches, whatever, blah, 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 and have that as a brotherhood only room that, if you wanted to, you could go in the room. We'd be streaming the game on a couple of TVs. Maybe there'd be a fridge in there. I don't know. Whatever. There's some basic ideas. Eventually get it decorated with some paintings, pictures, trophies, whatever.
Hmm.
And then it could be used for other sports as well after football. We would have preference during the football season. Obviously, when there's a game, we could do whatever we wanted, right? Because
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
else is going to go in there. And it would be like you're not in a brotherhood, you're out. Too bad. We paid for this. And, or like, the only other person I would let in there is for maybe you remember Duke and his son, David, that was in the wheelchair. We would let them
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
because Duke was always awesome. But
Yeah.
and he's donated to and everything. But uh, that's the kind of thing that we could, we would have the goodwill because we funded some of it, if not all of it. But we have no issues with the soccer team using it during soccer games for alumni or whatever, lacrosse, whatever. We would,
Hmm.
you can't do that anymore. You can't be like, this is football only, screw you, or locking the doors, forget it.
Yeah.
That doesn't lead to goodwill and, uh, you know, the type of relationships we want to have with the other programs. But, it also says, well, the football team did help us get this. So, we make sure we treat it with respect and, clean it up and whatever. But then we can decorate it how we want and whatever. So those are the kind of things like, that's the side end of it, right? If we were a much bigger organization with much bigger money and all that, there might be more um, hurdles, I guess you could say. So that's on the books. That's on the plans to do. When we get it completed, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll have it done before the next season. It'd be kind of cool to have that. If get some people to go in there and enjoy it, and if it's raining or something like that, you can pop in there, maybe grab a beer or something.
Yeah.
Do that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But that would those are the things that we envisioned, right? Boone, like to have the quote unquote perks of being a part of it, paying to be a part of it, and having that relationship. But we'll see if it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I definitely want to connect with Coach again. I haven't talked to
Yeah.
him probably. I don't know. We had him on a call probably a couple. It's been a couple years, and I haven't been
Yeah.
to Widener games. So definitely going to go down there, check out their spring activities, and see what they're doing. I know they have some stuff going on there, and see how things are going, and but also step foot on the property because I haven't been there in a while. I don't even know when. you know,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
so we used to have fun down there, and just haven't been able to get down there.
That's the truth. So much fun I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like that big building right in the middle of the, the campus. And I'm like, what's this building? They're like, Mad Dog's a library. And I'm like, huh, I didn't know we had one. I'm like, is
Really?
it nice inside?
Books in there and everything? No
There's
way.
books and everything.
Yeah.
Didn't let
Oh,
anyone in.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's the good times, and when Dave was the head coach over there, guys, you remember when, we used to suit up there at Schwartz and walk down. And then Pete, right to the left of you was where we came out, right? We only had that one little room that we
Oh,
sat
well,
in. Yeah.
we were over at, we used to come out over here, right? We
No,
used to
we
come
came
out
out
over
here.
here, but now they come out over here. They come out on this
Well,
side now.
no, they
Yeah.
come out the other way now.
No,
So
no, no,
that used to be the,
no, we
yeah,
used to come
that,
out over here on this far end, and then now they come out over here.
or they
They
come
come out
out
on
over here.
yeah, now you
So when I
can't,
was
it's not,
coaching there,
you,
we came out over here.
yeah, this is a pretty old picture because it's like right here,
Yeah.
like there's a bridge here now, like, it's not in this picture. So there's a bridge that you can walk across here, and you end up at the snack stand behind the stadium. This is a much older picture. Yeah. So
So when we went and we sat in the one room because our
yeah,
lockers were up. But then when
Yep.
Wood came in, we changed it to where the visiting locker room
yeah.
became the room we used to sit in. And then where the home locker room, they did up real nice. I mean, he had wooden lockers in there,
Oh yeah.
the whole nine, carpet. I mean, it was nice. They did real nice with it. I don't know what it looks like now.
It's
It's been
very
so
similar,
long.
dog. It's very
But
similar. I don't think it's changed much. It's been updated with like paint and fresh carpet and stuff like that because it just
yeah,
atrocious. It smells atrocious during the season. It smells like a dumpster, in August,
yeah,
but yeah, all locker rooms do. I don't care where you go. Every locker
no,
room you go into is like that with football. But
So
yeah, it looks great. It does look great. They do a nice job. They were we had again same thing with that hallway there where you see this doorway right here.
yeah.
They were going to decorate that and put up like wrap the walls, and none of it's happened, unfortunately. They were, because you want to be able to display all the MAC championships and
yeah,
all this, like
right,
all the All-Americans. Like you see people walk through there and go, holy shit, look at. So,
yeah,
all that's marketing, and they
mm,
they don't do it. My high school listen, it's an interesting story. So my high school is a Catholic high school, and way back in the day, they used to take in like kids that were refugees. And you know who they took in as a refugee? Jeff Bezos's father.
oh wow,
Right. So, not too long ago, he donated a ton of money to the high school,
Wow.
but they have some pretty prominent donors, and they redid the gym, like the actual, like the public lifting gym, and they wrapped all the walls with like all these historic pictures, and it looks amazing. It's got all these, like it's like chronological order with stuff, and it would be so nice to have some of that. We could do that, and it's not too expensive either. If you got to provide the content, but it's just you slap it up on the wall and it's done. But that would be so intimidating to see, like just long hallway of all Americans and championships, and guys in the college football Hall of Fame and everything like that. And the other, I don't know if you guys have been following along, but they just kind of redid some statistics and stuff like that. Widener's got a guy named Tony Stefanoni, who's the
yeah,
all-time Division III sack leader.
Yeah.
55
yeah,
sacks the guy had, right? So like those are the kind of things that should be displayed. Like, oh, I
yeah,
could do that when I'm here. And then if you could do some of the other postgraduate stuff, where
yeah,
people were owners of businesses, CEOs, and all that stuff like that. That I think that matters too. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of, you know, getting it on the list to get done, and it never seems to happen. And I was trying to touch on it earlier, like some of these other schools with the big money. I mean, they got the video scoreboards and all these other things, and we're still the same one. It's the same scoreboard.
Yeah. It's,
You know,
yeah.
like, I mean, it hasn't changed. Like, so, like, it's a shame. I mean, I know you don't want to spend money on some of these things sometimes, but sometimes you have to. You know, I mean, the press box, you know, the president's box, and Boot and I have been up in there. I mean, it's not air conditioned. It's friggin' 80. It's 95 degrees
I
in
know
there.
all
Like,
about it. I
it's
It's
know.
hotter
Yeah.
in there
yeah.
than sitting in the
Yeah.
stands.
Oh my God, it's
Oh,
brutal
yeah.
up there. I mean, like, you
There's
don't want to
nothing
be up
sexy
there.
up there.
You go
Yeah.
up there and you grab a sandwich and you roll. You get out of there, like, because it's so hot.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
you know, it's those things, like, you know, it makes the experience. And if it's miserable, I don't know how many people want to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And the
You know,
amount of money the tuition costs to go to Widener, I know is top dollar versus some of the other programs and
yeah,
schools that are out there. But yet there's other schools that have better facilities than what we have. And you're paying, I mean, listen, the education of Widener is excellent.
yeah,
That's what you're paying for, right? But, I don't even know what Sports Center looks like anymore. I mean, when I was there, they redid it and it looked
Mhm.
beautiful.
yeah,
The weight room, they took the racquetball courts, remember them? They
yeah,
blew that all out and that became the weight room. And instead of hiking up to the third floor, Schwartz, remember that crap?
yeah,
Into
yeah,
that top room there that had all the rust covered weights and everything else. And we ought to get tetanus shots after we lift it. All that
yeah,
fun stuff. The old wrestling room, remember the
yeah,
wrestling room was right there, right?
yeah, yeah,
I know they did a real nice job with Schwartz and making it. I don't know what it is now, guys. Like I said, I haven't. But when I was coaching there, they had a big, the team room was beautiful, with the great chairs and everything else up at Schwartz, and and they did a real nice job. But I don't know what it looks like now.
yeah.
You're
I
talking
can't.
10. You're talking 20 years ago, guys. I mean, 10
Um,
years. I was at, I left Widener 20 years ago coaching. I don't know what it looks like now.
yeah. No,
You
I
know?
mean, I know it was, you know, Schwartz did change a lot. I mean, that weight room is, I believe, is still over there, but to the right was all like ellipticals. I mean, it was all big glass
Yeah,
wall and everything. Really looked
yeah,
pretty, you know. I mean, it did a
yeah.
nice job with all that stuff, but the facilities have definitely, you know, changed for the better. But
My first year coaching
yeah,
there is when the turf went in, right? So
yeah,
I was my first year, right? But then, if you remember, guys, when we walked out of Schwartz and came down the path
Yeah.
to the stadium, to the right there was all woods, right? Well, they
Mhm.
blew all those woods out and they put turf fields over there too.
yeah. It's a soccer field and over there.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
field
we've
hockey.
used that a lot. When I was coaching the special needs soccer team for Lower Marion, we would
Yeah.
play Widener. We would play their team and we would go there, and it was
Yep.
great, you know, to have that facility over there. That was awesome. But I mean, they've done a ton. They've done a ton of improvements. They've done, you know, they built a bunch of buildings. You guys go back to campus, you'd be like, where did these come from? Like all these dorm rooms and stuff that they built and things like that. But uh, you know,
It's nice.
things that
Yeah.
we knew are gone. You know, dorms that are gone, and they've swapped them out, other buildings and stuff. But you know, it's a different place. It's a
Yeah.
much different place than it was. I mean, some of the buildings are still there, the old freshman dorms and the old main and a few other ones, but you know, they've expanded quite a bit, and they've had to. They have the, you know, it's, you know, they've actually had the last couple of years like incredible growth, way more students. You know, it's been a great, you know, couple of years post pandemic for the university overall. But you know, the previous president, President Holman, a woman, she did a great job with the university overall. She got them back in the black. I mean, they were not doing well. She did some great things with that, but she was not a sports person whatsoever. And the new president is a huge fan, a massive sports fan. And yeah, I've met her a few times. She's super dynamic. I mean, I was talking to Coach maybe before last season, and he said they had 6 recruiting dinners for
Wow.
potential players coming in, and she attended 5 of them.
That's awesome.
Right. So like she, I mean, and she goes to all the games. She's at all types of events. I mean, when I went to the Widener Phillies thing here in Clearwater last April, she, of course she was there. We got tons of pictures with her. She took pictures for us. I mean, she's got it, so there's a lot of support for the program there from her. Whether or not it turns into financial gain, I'm not sure, but at least it's a change for the better from a football perspective.
Mhm.
From that, I mean, Coach said he reports right to her pretty much, so which is nice. Yeah, he's got her ear, which is cool.
Yep. Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, good deal, guys.
Wish,
Good deal.
yeah, wish we could do more. We'll see what we can do.
That's it. That's all you can do, bro.
You
That's all you
know,
can do.
Well, I
So
think that's I think that's the good thing, right? I mean, as Pete and I were having these podcasts and reaching out to people, right? I mean, the whole thing about connecting, former pioneers and also, these are things that we want to make sure that, hey, let's try to, connect, right? Let's bring that brotherhood back. Let's bring back, whatever we can share our information, but also not saying get donations, but like, hey, we're not pressing you to get money or, give money. But the thing is, it's like, hey, you know, we want to be able to at least, have that connection so that we want, people to feel like, hey, you're part of the brotherhood, you're part of Widener, and let's get more people on board with us and build this, podcast, build it out, right? Because the goal is, like I said, and then Pete and I have been working on this, is, we want to have fun. I know we're in our some of us, I don't know, depending, late 40s, 50s, early 50s. But
oh
the
yeah,
key for us is like, when we, you know, who's it better to talk football, especially Widener football, than former players, right? I mean, bring up old stories and bring up, and rehash like what happened at school, what happened, on the
yep.
football field and things like that. So, for us, it's like, connecting and bringing that back. Because, I'm tired of talking to my kids about these things, but it's better to, I haven't seen you,
Exactly.
Mad Dog, in years, right? I mean, and this is the best part, like, looking at you and like, man, you haven't changed that much, and you still got the same goatee. And Pete,
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, you had some hair when
yeah,
you were at Widener. I still got my hair, and
yeah, look,
and
yeah. You look good, buddy.
and
it's
this is the
still
best
black
part,
too. For
That
shit, look
is,
at that.
man.
Didn't turn gray yet. They let you
Almost the
dye in
same
that shit.
style too.
just for men.
Yeah,
It's
That's
it's
right.
that's
there's
Yeah.
right.
there's a lot of
Oh
gray in it,
man.
but it's turning gray. It's
And
getting there.
it's cool, Bunta. What I told Pete when we talked last week is that it's how the program, the team, and the experience that I love to talk about with you guys, and hopefully more people we get on, is how was it out their lens? How did they view things?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How was their relationship with the coaches? What did they see, right?
yeah,
Or with our teammates, or what adversities did they go through?
yeah,
Or were they able to fully, when it's all said and done and it does, settles, right? We go back and we reflect.
yeah,
Would you have done something different? Are you satisfied with what we did or what you did individually, right? And we never talked about that, right? You guys were great starters and great players and captains, but you know what? Never sat down and say, "Hey, Bunta, what were you feeling? What
yeah,
were you, going through?" Other than all we remember is you running around and catching a ball and doing your thing. But same with Pete. What were you going through mentally and physically? You know,
Yeah.
how did you
Yeah.
like the coaching staff, or how did you feel that it was being ran? Everything that it's pretty cool to be able to self-reflect on that. And some of the players that maybe kind of on the surface looked good, but they never really talked about maybe what adversities are going through.
I'll
yeah.
tell you, yeah. So to say something about that, and Boone, you add some color too, but We talked a lot about that with Joey Weisinger when we spoke to him years back. And, having been on the offensive line with Joe, and, for him, he played, I guess I don't know if he started maybe 10 or 15 games over 4 years. He started a few games for me at center when I got hurt in my junior year, stuff like that. And I know he seemed to be always in somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but playing, but his perspective is what you just talked about, dog. What he was able to turn his experience into, in terms of, he got into coaching, because he was like a player coach during that time frame. He was Coach Sam's second set of eyes. I mean, because he knew the plays. He knew all 5 positions. He knew the plays. He knew all the calls. And he actually was interested in watching and learning and helping. He just never lifted weights.
Right.
That's right. So, but
Commitment
like, yeah,
part,
I mean, that was, and when he talked about it, like, again, we talked to him a couple years ago. I had not known that, and it was great to get that information. And what you brought up makes a lot of sense. And Boonta and I started this years back, and I didn't know what he was seeing out there
Right.
on the edge, and he didn't know what was going on with us in the middle. And it really is nice to see it and hear it from somebody else's vision, someone else's lens, to help kind of tie it all together, because it was really neat to hear.
and how the relationships were built, right? And the
Yeah,
camaraderie of what we all went through,
yeah,
and and we each had a part of it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to showcase mine on Saturdays like you did. But Pete, like you talked about before, and asked me on Sunday, dog, would you have left and gone to start somewhere else and got a rear ends kicked
Yeah.
versus
yeah,
hanging on with you guys, and coming in at a time where it was loaded, it was stacked. There's no one breaking that line up, man. It was a tough
yeah,
lineup to get into it too deep because we're so deep all over the place, right?
yeah,
But with me, it was like coming in and saying, you know what? The relationships mean more to me and how you guys brought me in and treated me than it was for me to give that up to say, okay, well, I may not be starting on a Saturday, but I'm strapping up and clipping up with them Monday through Friday, and we're getting after it in the Schwartz, and we're pretty good, and then going out to seeing you guys taking care of business on Saturdays,
yeah,
right? And I wouldn't trade that for the world. People ask me, hey, dog, would you do it all over again? And I say, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Because it's
yeah,
about the friendships and the brotherhood and the experiences that we've all been through off and on the field. You know,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, I love Bill, both of them, right? But Cupid always, Pete, you laugh. I mean, Boot, you're out on the edge, but I remember that time when we're getting ready to play Lycombe and Schwartz, we had bad weather, and I tattooed Carl Hunter, and the ball went flying one way, and he went the other way. Bobby Snock tried to block me out. And get out of here, Bob. Right? And then Cupid got so mad. He looked at me, goes, God damn it, Mad Dog. And I looked at him and said, Coach, I don't think you should run that play. He was like, that's it. But it's stuff like that, like I said, as someone that was on the scout team and busted rear end for you guys, for us, but for you guys, to see you guys out there on Saturday, man, was a lot of joy for me, knowing that I'm hopefully helping you guys in some way.
No,
Versus
that's a,
being on the other side and getting waxed and gashed for 300 yards, I'd rather be on it with you guys.
yeah,
You know, But it was just the timing, right? If I came in with you guys a freshman year and sophomore year, there would have been a chance. But it was good, man. And I thank all you guys. I really do. I thank every one of you guys for bringing me on and making me feel very welcome and valued. To this day as well.
yeah. We love having you, dog. Yeah,
yep, definitely, man. I mean, any former player, we always feel their value because, everybody's value is, I think to me is what makes our team complete, because whether, you're on the scout team, whether you're a starter, it's everybody's work, that makes us or made us, that those 2 years, championship, caliber. So,
But Boonta, you said it first, when you two Pete was, coming from, winning programs in high school,
yeah,
right? That team was built. I mean, Jeff Bell. I played Jeff in the state championship
yeah,
when he went to Toms River North. We played him my junior year in the state championship, right? So that whole team that you had was built of high school winners.
yeah,
That it wasn't going to be tolerated to lose. That wasn't. It was just a matter of everything coming together to get
exactly,
that program where it
exactly.
needed to be.
Yep.
That wasn't
Yeah.
going to be an option to say, look, we're going to sit here and be 2-8 or 3-7. That wasn't the built of that team. And I give Cuban and Zwan and all the coaches tons of credit for going out recruiting that type
Well, that
of
was the
player.
that was the whole thing, dog. I mean, they, when we came in as freshmen, they basically cleaned the slate. There was a couple of older players that cracked the starting lineup. They were hung on that in the '92 season, but after that, they were all pretty much gone. And there was maybe one or two hang-ons, but or that were actually good players. But I mean, we had half of the starting lineup in '92 was freshmen.
Yeah.
And that was that was the plan, right? Fresh slate. And then, they were hoping by '95 we'd be a solid winning program. And it ended up happening a whole year before that. And, that was the plan. I mean, that's any way you slice it. They were going to wipe the slate, bring in a bunch of studs, give them a year or two, and then all of a sudden we were off to the races. So, and that was the formula. Just keep bringing in the horses. Hopefully they stick around in the stable. Most of them didn't, but we have 120 kids. Boone. Then how many graduated with us? 15.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. Like
So,
very small number.
So that was the numbers game, but that was what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm
It
proud
was.
that I hung around there for the
Yeah.
2 years with you
Yeah.
guys, on the field. Because you guys almost lost me after running the 110s, the 16 110. Hell of this shit.
Shit, that almost lost everybody, man.
You remember the movie Stripes, Pete? Who do you
Yeah.
remember that? I felt like I was John
Yeah.
Candy in the woods when he ran off into the woods when they're running. That was going to be me.
He's running.
Where's Mad Dog? I don't know. He's like, I'm like, this is
those are damn
some
fine
horse
men,
shit.
right? Like,
You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't sign up to run track. What's this?
Oh man, those were brutal, man.
That's where it all started, right?
Yeah. After that, I was shot. And then the next day, that's when we did all the lifting. I was like, I can't lift nothing after that. That was, and then like, I know from and Boonta and I talked about this previously. I was, again, I was woefully unprepared in '92, my freshman year. After that, I was very prepared. But, it was like, holy, and I still couldn't do those 110s very well. I mean, I my first year, I didn't, I think I missed the first one. And then the second day I made them all. And then every year I never had any real trouble. It wasn't easy. I mean, it just wore you out. Like it wore everybody out. I would have rather ran a mile, I think.
Yeah. I felt bad for you guys.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is if you're coming in new, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like when I came in, they were like, we're going to have a team meeting at night, our first team meeting. And we had dinner before. And I'm sitting there saying, oh, this is some good shit. And I didn't realize that no one else was eating around me, you guys. And then we get down there and all of a sudden we're like, well, here's a team meeting. Get on the line. Lyman, you got X amount of seconds to get there. You got 16 of them. What?
Yeah, I mean, they sprung that on us in '92. And I was like, we knew there would be some kind of running test. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, by the 7th or 8th one, I was wheezing. I mean, I was like,
Yeah. And then the one year we did it inside sports because the weather was bad, right?
Yeah.
So you got all of us around the little track. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That kind of helped me a little bit because I kind of got stuck. Like I didn't, I kind of stuck with the group a little bit there because we're all so compact. But when we did it at, on the field, holy Christ, man.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
we went into 2 weeks of two-a-days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, we look back on the days and what we went through to play the game and what they do today with how, it's one day of, 2 days and the next day's a single or it can't be a padded. And when you do 2 days today, guys, it can't be both double pad. It can't be full pads on both of them like we were.
No, I don't think they can do that at all. I don't think they have double sessions at all anymore.
Right. It's all different.
Yeah, it's all different now. But, and there was never like they used to say, oh, practice is 2 hours. Is it 2 hours?
No.
When they started the clock, that's when it was 2 hours. You're out there 40 minutes before that doing all kind of shit.
I didn't mind that at all, because, in the morning, like, we go get breakfast and we go to practice and then, we'll come to lunch, take a nap, and then have the afternoon. I mean, like, we had some time to.
We had a groove. Yeah.
Yeah. Those afternoon naps were great, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then also, being woken up at like 3 a.m. because OJ was sneaking back into the dorm through my window, climbing all over me. I'm like, what the hell? He goes, dog, it's all right. It's OJ. Dude.
Oh.
What are you doing? I got to be up in 2 hours. He goes, don't worry. And then he'd go down and have the best practice out of anyone.
Well, it was his thing, man.
Every night, Pete.
That was his routine, dog. He had that down to a science, man.
Yeah, he's like, dog.
He was doing that for years. Yeah, he was doing that for years, man.
He climbed through our window, like that window. I kept it open for him every night. He would climb in, and it was like a ritual. He would just roll into bed with me. Then he's like, hi, Mad Dog. Hi, Juice. And then he'd go out, he'd leave and get to his room.
I'd say my freshman year, I roomed with Dave Braxton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in there with that Flexol 454. He's rubbing it all over himself. The whole room just smelled. I was like, oh, my God, look at it. What's this guy doing? Like,
But they're like the stories that, people, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah. Well, that's the stuff you remember. I'd say, I don't know, Booth, do you remember this? When we went to camp in 93, everybody really knew each other at that point by then, right?
Yeah.
And I brought a whole box of VHS tapes of movies. I don't know what happened to them. I don't think
they're good movies.
Good movies.
I might have one.
What happened
Let me
to
see.
them. I swear to God. Somebody got to them and they got used a lot, I was wondering if it was you, but but that's the stuff, man. That's the good stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
I like that year in particular. I don't remember a lot of anything. I don't know why I lost. It's not in my head that much. I mean, I know we had a nice run of games, and we kind of faltered a little bit at the end. We won the last game of the season, and the very last game at Memorial Stadium, it was called, and which I thought was a really good thing, in the history of the program.
Yeah.
But I just lost a lot of that season in my mind. But I remember some of the camp things. This sitting in the stands during like a break period and listening to Adam Barton just do impressions and do stupid shit and just. Adam Barton was one of the punters that never really played. He was a backup punter. Right. But those guys were great athletes, and they would burn everybody at practice. They'd burn all the DBs at practice. But and he was like Rodney Dangerfield. Like, he was so friggin' funny all the time, constantly, and just those are the things I remember. And like I said, I lost a lot of that season somewhere in my mind, but I just remember the movies and and some of the stuff that they would do out on the playing field, in the game field, just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Oh man. Oh crap. But yeah, that's good stuff, man. It's all that's the purpose, right? It's just to catch up and catch these stories in some way so we don't lose them. There's so many other people we want to talk to. Gary and I were talking the other night about who to bring on, which guys, at least particularly from our era, from our team. And I'd like to, get some guys that were man love guys and some younger guys at some point, if we can bridge some gaps there. But, if we could get Calvin Tull on or Jimmy Wark, or, yeah, I was writing some names down while we were thinking, like G Garrett and, some guys like that. It'd be a lot of fun. Those guys were funny as hell, man. They were so much fun. And,
absolutely.
it was,
George Jones.
those guys, man. I tell you, it was funny. I was just thinking, like, when we were living in Andorn, and we would, after a home game, a lot of people would come back to our place where me, Danny, and Craig Romick lived, right? And eventually, it would, like, some of the parents would start leaving, getting out or whatever, and then more rowdy people would start coming, and all the black guys would start showing up, right? And it was like me and Danny were there and a few others, and then it was like Jimmy Burton, Anthony, George, all like 15 of them. And my mom's like, "You got a lot of black friends." I'm like, "Yeah." Football team, Mom. Because they knew they could come over and eat. Like, no one, they weren't getting fed, they come over and eat lasagna and shit and drink from the keg. But just like,
I never visited that. I never visited Andorn. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I got video. I got photographic evidence of that there, pal. A broken coffee table.
I was at the library.
Yeah, you found it.
I ran into it by accident some night.
Oh shit, man.
We had a good time, man, and Boota and I had a good run there for a little bit too. For a little bit there, and that's a whole nother story for another night, if you will. Our stories for another night, right, Boota?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a good times though, right?
Yeah.
And
speaking of Andorn real quick, do you remember our senior year, Pete? Was it the night before graduation? Remember we were just throwing shit out of our freaking door?
Yeah.
We came back from wherever, I don't know what the heck, and then all of a sudden
we were smashing all kind of radio stuff and whatever. Oh my
everything
God.
was flying out of the dorms, like everything. Second floor, first. I mean, we had cars parked back there.
Yeah.
Everything was just flying out. Like, I don't know who the hell started. It was just like mayhem. I was like, what the heck is going on?
We had like a piece of stereo equipment. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't working, so we were going to smash it. So I grabbed it, and it was like open in the back, right? And it had the back was it was metal. The casing was metal, and the edges were like that, but it was open in the back. So I'm holding it like this, and I went like this, and I threw it up in the air like that, but the edge of the metal was like sharp, and it took a chunk out of my finger. Like, I have here on my finger, I have a huge scar, and the whole piece like flapped back like this. And it was right. And as soon as I let go, I went, oh, and we had been drinking for like 6 days straight, like nonstop. And I mean, my blood must have been as thin as could be. And it just started pouring blood. I'm like, oh, wow. And I should have went to the hospital. I wasn't leaving. So I wrapped it up with a paper towel and electrical tape. Black electrical tape.
Yeah.
And it bled for 2 days. It wouldn't stop. Finally, like I guess it coagulated enough and stopped, and I could just put like a regular Band-Aid on it. And to this day, it feels like kind of dead. Like it's weird. Like and I have a massive scar on my finger from it. But that
Oh,
was that night
man.
you're talking about.
Yeah. That was like a Thursday night or something. We
Yeah.
just, yeah, you're right. I mean, that was like our whole week of drinking. We
It
were
was
out like
what are
every
they?
night.
Bridge week. Bridge week. It was
Yeah.
called Bridge
Yeah.
Week. Yeah.
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 That was crazy.
It was.
But Indoor, everything was just flying out. People were just throwing stuff. It was, man.
We had you guys remember Jeff Noonan, the kicker?
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah. So he used to hang out with us a lot. And we went to high school together. He was a year behind us, and he would end up crashing at our place all the time. And like a couple nights, someone would go into the bathroom or whatever, and he's dead asleep on the toilet, stuff like that. So like, it was like, man, and he was commuter. He didn't have a dorm or whatever. He'd drive every day. And one time we all went back to the room after the end of the night, whatever it was, and we shut the door and we all passed out. And he tried to get in, and the door was locked. He couldn't get in. He was asleep in his car all night, and it was winter. It was like January. And in the morning, he sees like the light on, someone's up. He bangs on the door. Let me in. He comes in. It's like, you left me out here all night. And you owe me money for gas. And I'm like, for what? Because I had to run my car all night with the heat. I used 3/4 of a tank. I said, it's not my problem, you asshole. Drive home. What the hell do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was a pisser, man. I loved him, man. I miss him a lot.
Jeff.
He was a
He
piece of
punter,
work.
wasn't
Man.
he? Kicker.
He was a kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary,
Football,
he was
man.
a kicker. He was a kicker, and he was one of the strongest guys on the team. Literally.
Yeah, he was in good shape, man. Yeah. Yeah.
He was
a
jacked.
bodybuilder.
He was jacked. He was jacked. He could have played any position. And he doesn't look like a kicker. I mean,
No, and but that was like he always wanted to, but they didn't want to risk the kicking. Like that was the same thing with a lot of the kickers. Like they were actually all pretty good athletes.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to risk the missing of the kick, so they didn't let him play receiver or whatever else. It was a shame that's what happens in college. Like you don't see people playing multiple positions really, except for maybe line.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen very often, and it doesn't happen very often even in the line. And only in the most desperate situations will they do that. Will they put a tackle at guard or something like that? So, but yeah, he was a piece of work.
Yeah, he's good people.
Yeah.
Where's he at now, Pete? You ever be in touch with him?
No, unfortunately, I lost track of him. You know who is good friends with him, and I have stayed in touch with him, is Joel Rickards. Remember Joel Rickards?
Yeah.
Him and Noonan were like, asshole buddies. So they stay in touch. And I know they've seen each other, but I haven't. He's not on like social media or anything as far as I know. So it's it's not easy to get a hold of him. But last time I talked to Joel, which wasn't too long ago, he said he's doing good. So
yeah,
I'd like to get a hold of him and get him on here. He'd be fun to talk to because he's got some. He came from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I think he has a bowl ring or something like that. I mean, he was behind Todd Sauerbrunn, the punter from West Virginia, who was also a super jacked guy. Like he was like a huge dude, but and then he ended up coming to Widener, so and had a nice run at Widener.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, he was good people, good kid.
Yeah, we did have a good run.
You mentioned
mentioned
with Calvin too. Calvin was a hell of a punter, man. Calvin was a good athlete.
Too busy fly fishing.
That's what he does now. You ever see him all over the place? 56 pictures of every day of different fishes. So whatever makes you happy, bud.
That's right.
That's
right. That's right. It's all good though, man. He's a happy dude. He's
God bless him. Exactly.
Yeah, he's a piece of work.
Yeah,
man.
but hey, whoever you guys want to get on, I told you, whatever era, I'm gonna get along with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to get Calvin on, because that's good, because I think he played football, high school football, I think for Red Lion, which is part of York County in PA. But I swear he had this like Southern accent, like he was from the
Yeah.
South,
Yeah.
and I was like, and you played at Red Lion and you talk like that, and I'm like, man, Calvin, what the heck's going on? Because you know that's with that accent, that's something you would expect from like Virginia, or even
Yeah.
further south, but not in York County, PA, right?
Like Appalachian, he's like Appalachian dude or something, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude. Like the way he says dude, like
yeah,
dude, like
He always had a good time, Calvin. He was always laughing.
yeah.
I don't
was,
never
Man.
remember seeing him in a bad mood, but I know,
Yeah.
man, he used to carve up the secondary, man, when he was on scout team. Man,
smallest
he a fast
smallest
dude.
quarterback I think we had, Calvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but man, he could kick the ball, man. He could punt,
Yeah, yeah,
but but no, I always loved Calvin. I loved all you guys, man.
yeah,
You get Weisinger on here, we're gonna be rolling all night. The stories
Oh,
him and I have.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be a comedy show for sure.
That's when we met Todd Gordon. Remember when we met Todd Gordon at the jewelry store? We're gonna
Oh,
sign our
really?
contracts for ECW.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That's right. That's right. Oh my God, man.
It's only
Yeah,
going to get better from here,
I'll
right?
tell you. I'll tell you another person we need to get on, even though like he didn't complete all his years at Widener's, is Avery Cologne. You know,
Yeah.
he was part of that our team for like what 2-3 years. And
Mhm.
get
Yeah.
the Perez on here too. I mean, some of those guys that graduated,
That's a good one
behind.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to get some of those guys on there. That would be good. I actually have Avery's contact information. We talked not long ago.
yeah,
He would be a good one to get on to. Again, these guys, I mean, I'm good with, I don't want to have just, quote unquote, the best players. Like, that's not the
yep,
point of this. The point of,
yep,
because everyone has these great perspectives, and
yeah,
All
it
right.
doesn't have to be
absolutely.
the most decorated people. I mean, that's not the point.
Avery
That
ran
would that would
hard,
get
man.
boring.
He was a
That'd
tough
get,
kid, Avery.
yeah. Oh,
He ran hard.
he's dislocated my shoulder.
And I know his son, I think
Yeah,
Bruce, I think his son's pretty big into wrestling too.
Yeah,
Avery's son.
and
both.
football. Yeah,
And
Yeah,
and
football.
football.
both
Yeah,
kids,
good
both
athlete,
kids.
real good athlete.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Avery's always good people.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, anyone you guys decide to get on, it's gonna be good. It's
yeah.
I'm
The
happy with it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
building a
I
nice
love
list
to
here.
see. I love
Yeah.
to see Dougie McLaughlin. We're gonna get Dougie on here. I miss Doug. You
Yeah,
Yeah,
know,
I saw Doug back in December. I saw Dougie. So yeah, still looking good. Still looking like Doug.
yeah.
And but yeah, just quick thing with Avery, and you probably heard this, Pete, but it was our junior year, and you know we have those like specials, and I think it was like the one club. I forget what the name of it. They were hosting college night, and it was Avery's birthday, and everybody wanted to go, right? I mean, George and all like the brothers and everybody, like, oh, let's go, right? We're trying to get a ride. So me and Avery, we went, and it was this, I forget the place in Springfield, and it was like right off Route 1 there. It was huge. I mean, huge club. We go there. Nobody told us that it was Black College Night, so it's just me and Avery, and and all years is just hip hop rap, and me and Avery just like look at each other, we're there with a bunch of like Widener like brothers, football guys, and I mean we know a lot of like I'm like the only Asian dude, Avery's like the only like Hispanic guy, and everybody else is like all black, talking about like fitting in.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You had a great time too, didn't you?
yeah.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
that's
that's
cool,
good,
man. That's
yeah.
funny.
I mean,
Yeah.
we hung out, we got some drinks, I mean, that's the best part. I mean, that's the cool
Whose
thing. We know a
club was
lot of
that,
people,
dude? That wasn't which club? That wasn't Pulsations, was it? That was
Yes,
was,
that's
was
it.
it Pulsations? Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
I forgot the name. Pulsations.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not there anymore. It's gone.
No,
So,
no.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's
Black
funny.
College night, man.
Yeah.
We fit right in.
Oh yeah. No, it's good stuff. No, all these names you're bringing up, we're doing this once a month?
I think we'll try to do once a month. I think that, this is not too bad of a commitment. And I think it, we can get some people interested in, even if it was short or, an hour and something like that, just get a couple of stories in and out. I'm happy with letting the people go. They want to go 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. But that's the point, right? Just to capture stuff
Yeah.
and bullshit and connect again and,
Yep.
go from there and, build up a little bit of a, again, the history, right? A library of history would be cool. Just try to keep it clean whenever we can. But
Yeah.
if we want to let it rip, we can do that too. I mean, we really let it rip with Weiss before. It's a lot of
Well,
stuff.
that's listen. The thing
Yeah.
of it is that's a big part of us too. Not that anything was bad, you know what I mean? But that's where the majority of the relationships happen. Was
Yeah.
outside and
Yeah,
doing the thing
sure.
that we did, whether it's at the house or going out to the clubs and doing all that stuff, and and that's a big
Yeah.
part of what we've done.
Well, you
You
talk
know?
about it think about it like this, dog. Like for 13 weeks out of the year, we were a football team. That's
Yep.
it, right? It's
That's it.
camp
Yep.
and then 10 games.
Yeah.
Right. If we went further, great. But that's it. And then the other, whatever, 38 something weeks, 39 weeks or so, we were just dudes, like hang out,
Exactly.
right? So like,
We had to find
that was
something that take up the time. So what the hell, man, right?
right. So yeah, I mean, that was,
I couldn't study all day.
None of us could study all day. There were maybe a couple,
like
but not. Sure
Some-
as shit wasn't the three of
Right.
us.
I mean,
Some didn't even study at all.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, seriously. Some of the people that we'll have on this call didn't study at all, and
That's correct.
right. So, but yeah, I mean, it's completely about the rest of it. I mean, that's all the bonding and all the other shit that we went through, and I mean, how many other stories are there? Everyone going out and shoveling snow together to make money, and all the bullshit we dealt with at parties, and the sand party and beach party, whatever, and like all the other shit that we used to do. Come on, it was a ton of stuff, man. I mean, so many stories, so many just
Or greeting our guests, telling them how they smell terrific.
yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Boont and I sitting out on the back in the volleyball court staring at the FIMU girls because there was not a shot in the world. We had no shot. Right. Boone, I'm going to ask, what was the girl's name? What was the girl's name we were staring at? I know it. I'll never forget it.
Julie De Palma.
Julie De Palma.
Why don't you get Julie on the podcast?
She was a 12 out of 10. It wasn't even funny. It was like, holy shit, man. But he's just looking at her. He goes, dude, look at her. Look at Julie De Palma. Oh my God, dude. Like,
well, take a look. You guys did pretty well for yourselves.
Yeah, that's true, buddy. That's true. We're both we're all three of us lucky men. But
yeah, absolutely.
Funny stories though, man. That's the stuff I remember. I mean, I know
see Angela, right? Like Pete, I tell you, Angela, like she'll hear stories about the college days, and the nickname, the whole nine. And she's like, I would have hated you in college. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. I said, you would have been going around, where's Mad Dog?
That's
I
right.
said, you wouldn't. I said, come on. I said, I may not have known who you are, but you would have, you would have hated me.
That's right.
She gets so pissed off.
That's
well,
that's
like
truth,
I said, that's what grew us all, and
yeah.
You can't take away those times because that's where the true brotherhood and trust came in. Who had each other's back, who was going to be by your side through the thick and the thin, albeit. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's ultimately what carried over to the football is that how well we all loved each other and we're going to stick together no matter what, the good and the bad.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree.
So who's the next one on the list to get on? Who are you going to attack, Pete?
Well,
Who are we going
here's
after?
I'm going to read you the names that I have. I mean, Calvin, George, Weiss, Dougie Mack, Quinney, Jim Wark, Lloyd Hill, Antonio Moore, Rob Son, Anthony Gossett, Joe Brannigan, Emmett Dempsey, Jimmy Garrett, Jimmy Burton, Noonan, Avery, Steve Perez, Vic Amy, Jeff Bell.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, it's a
Good.
long list, so we can, I mean, I got contact information for most of them, if not all of them. A couple I might not have, but I'm sure I could rattle some trees and drum up a couple of them. But I mean, just the first couple, like Calvin and George and Weiss, and I have all the and Quinney. I mean, I talked to Quinney yesterday, so I mean,
Yeah, I miss Quinn.
I got all those guys, on lock. If they wanted to do it, that's fine. But
Hey, Pete, remember when Quinn was playing basketball and we
Yeah.
went and did the community service at the church? Do you remember that? And then
Community
I'm
service.
holding the dog with the priest. I'm holding the dog with our orange juice and vodka. Then we end up going back to his game and raising hell. That was a mess. I thought that was it for me. I thought this was it. Right? Because Quinny didn't start on basketball. But when
no.
Coach Rowe put him in the game, we all went nuts.
Oh,
Hacking the other team. I'm surprised I didn't get thrown out.
The same thing would happen with Murph. He played
but
too,
Murph-
and he would get at the end of the games too. It was funny. It was we treated Dave the same way that Dave had a buddy that played at Temple.
And he
His
played
name was
overseas, didn't he?
his name was Marco, and he was 6'10", right? He was the only white guy on the team at Temple in the 90s. And when we went to a couple of games at Temple, and he got into the game at there's like a minute and a half left, and the whole fucking place was screaming his name like he was like world famous. And I mean, I'm serious, and it was it was awesome. But like we did that to Dave and Murph, at Widener, because they were both good basketball players. Excuse me, but they weren't Division III starters by any means.
No.
So it was just it was funny, but
and then when he made a shot, we went nuts. I mean, it was red. I mean, we're how the hell I didn't get kicked out of that place is amazing. I don't even know how I made it there, bud. I don't even know what happened.
Man, I don't know.
I stumbled in there. I'm like, but they're the times, right? They're the good times that we lived through and we miss. Not to go back and live through it and reminisce, but like there's one thing with one of the old players that obviously was a good friend of mine, kind of went on and did his thing. And, I would always talk about the past. And he said to me, he goes, "Dog, you can't keep living in the past." I said, "But they're one of my happiest times. That's where the relationships were. So it's not that I'm living in the past, but it's good to go back and dip into it because, it just keeps you grounded on, hey, how's things going now? What's everyone going through? But they're the good times that helps you through the times now."
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it does have a cathartic, therapeutic feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm living through my kids' eyes or living through, certain things with this either. But I think it's just fun to visit, and it's fun to, jibber jab. And look, we all have great relationships, man. I mean, we haven't seen each other in a long time, and we haven't talked in a long time, and it it's just like we just left the calf, you know what I mean? And we're going to go do the next thing. Right. So that, I mean, because it was so solid before that, like, I don't know if you guys know, like, Scott Murph, who didn't play football, but, we were all brothers in the fraternity. I mean, we didn't talk for 20 years. And, I didn't talk to Dave and Eddie and those guys for a long time either. It just, everybody just kind of went their way, right? I mean, it's happened with all of us in one way or another. And I felt so bad about it. I always regretted not talking to him. And then we started talking a few years ago. Just happened to get his number from Dave, and I called him up, and it's like the time never happened. You know what I mean? Like it's all good.
You didn't miss
like,
a beat.
You know what I mean? And he came when we had a golf outing and back in September. He came from California. He came to it, and we hung out. And we had hung out before, but it was like, I really, really appreciated it, man. It made me remember and that we were super tight. Like I was always really tight with Murph outside of football and stuff. And it sucks that we didn't hang a lot over those times, but now like we talk every week. So I'm not going to miss, you know what I mean? So I'd like to have that happen here. And maybe this will happen for these guys who are like, oh, who'd you talk to? Oh, we talked to this one, that one. And some of them might be pissed, like, why did you call me first? But I think it'll help. Maybe it'll bring everybody back together in some way. I mean, it's easy to do this, right? I mean, I can't imagine not wanting to sit down and bullshit for an hour or two, just to catch up. So
yeah. Life's too short, man, and unfortunately, as you get older, the only time you always get together is either weddings or funerals, right? And let's not try to have that happen.
Yeah.
So this is a great platform, man. Thank you for having me, or
absolutely, dog. Good. All right, well, why don't we wrap it up and let you guys get to having the rest of your night and getting ready for your little sleepy sleeps.
Yeah.
And, I know you're looking tired over there, dog. You had a long day, right? Yeah, busting balls. Nah, but we'll schedule it again for another month, and what I'll do is just send you guys the list of guys, and we'll how about we just between now and then hash out who we think will be fun on the next one, and we'll go from there.
Sounds
Definitely.
good, buddy.
Sounds good. Yep. All right, brothers.
All right, guys. Appreciate it, guys.
Nice catching up.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank
Talk
you again,
to you soon.
Pete. See you, Mad Dog.
See you,
Peace.
Bootha. You be good, buddy.
You too.
I'll talk
Thanks,
to you
guys.
soon.